How this 22-year-old died in jail will absolutely shock you, but what the government did about it probably won't. And the cast of Friends breaks their silence on Matthew Perry's death, plus 60-second headlines, right now on Notice News. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Springer, and this is Notice News, your daily update on all the news you need to know. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell to stay updated. We start today down in Alabama with the horrifically brutal death of 22-year-old Daniel Terry Williams. Last month, just days before he was about to be released from jail, his family got a call from the jail's warden. The warden claimed Daniel had overdosed on drugs and had been taken to the hospital. Daniel's fiance explains what happened next.
I went to the hospital and the nurses told me that he was assaulted and beaten really badly, and when I went into the room he had bruises all down his arm, like down to his fingers. He had bruises over here, he had cuts up and down, he had bruises on his legs, and it was bad.
One thing was clear to the family: this wasn't an overdose. That was bullshit. Daniel had been beaten and raped. His dad said this.
I called the warden and I cussed him out. I was like, dude, you know this is not an overdose case. You know exactly what happened. How's this crap gonna happen like this?
At the hospital, Daniel had only 10% of his brain function, so his family made the difficult decision to pull him off life support. Sadly, this sort of thing isn't the exception to the rule in our country, it's the norm. One expert said this.
The brutality, the violence, the dysfunction, it's not an aberration anymore, it's a feature of the Alabama Department of Corrections.
And it's not just Alabama, it's the whole f***ing country. Jails in the United States can be hell on earth or even a death sentence. This graph shows the number of deaths in US jails since 1920, which has steadily increased, spiking during the pandemic. That's because many jails became COVID hotspots. The conservative magazine The Economist says the pandemic pushed our prison system to the brink, and now it's on the verge of utter collapse. And that's very bad news if you're not rich. Shamefully, our country imprisons more people than any other country in the world, with over 2.2 million people sitting behind bars at this very second. 1 million of those are in jail for crimes relating to poverty, like low-level drug offenses or property crimes, and some are there because they simply can't afford bail. And it gets worse. 2/3 of all prisoners made less than $12,000 a year at the time they went into prison. That's right, the vast majority of people in jail were already living in extreme poverty. So when Donald Trump says there are two justice systems in America, he's not lying. One for rich assholes like him, and one for the rest of us. Critics say this is why we need a complete overhaul, not just of the criminal justice system, but of the entire way we think of each other in society. What would safety look like in the US if everyone had their basic needs met? Food, healthcare, shelter, and a job paying a living wage. But because we don't live in that world, at least not yet, any guesses on how Daniel's dad is going to pay for the disposal of his son's body?
I set up a GoFundMe account to get him cremated. It's like $1,000. I was wanting to bury him by my mom, but that's like $7 grand. You know, I can't afford that.
If you're not f***ing enraged, you're not paying attention. I put a link to Daniel's GoFundMe in the description down below. Meanwhile, Matthew Perry's Friends castmates have finally broken their silence on Perry's tragic death a little less than a month ago. Just days after the news broke, the 5 remaining Friends put out a joint statement saying they were going to take some time to grieve. But now, in a series of Instagram posts, they've weighed in a more personal way. Jennifer Aniston said she's been poring over their old texts together, laughing and crying and laughing again, saying she can almost hear him in her head saying, could she be any crazier? While Courtney Cox, Matthew's on-screen wife, dropped this amazing outtake of what she said after the great scene where they're first in bed together.
I'm getting married today! Yeah, you are!
Do you think you knew I was here? Okay, your turn. No, beginning. He told me to say it, he did!
She also wrote that the whole Chandler-Monica thing was only supposed to be a one-night stand, but because of fan reaction, it became the beginning of their love story. But The one that got to me, and I've been in this business a while, so things don't usually get to me, is what Matt LeBlanc posted. It is with a heavy heart I say goodbye. I'll never forget you, never. Spread your wings and fly, brother. You're finally free. And I guess you're keeping the $20 you owe me. So far, authorities have not released Perry's cause of death. The actor struggled for years with alcohol and drug use disorder. If you think you are drinking or drugging too much, please check out the links below. It's never too late to take a little break or stop altogether. All right, let's get a timer going for 60-second headlines. A new poll from Reuters shows that the majority of Americans, a full 68%, support a ceasefire in Israel's war against Gaza, including a majority of both Democrats and Republicans. 68% of Americans can't agree on anything. Despite this majority, only 24 members of Congress have called for a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Israel's continued bombardment of Gaza has forced another 200,000 people to flee their homes, as the UN says the humanitarian crisis has reached a breaking point because Israel is still refusing to allow aid to get into the area. Thousands of Starbucks workers walked off the job Thursday to protest insane working conditions. The workers walked out during one of Starbucks' busiest days of the year, their annual Red Cup giveaway promotion, saying events like that exacerbate staffing and scheduling problems for already low-paid workers. Jesus, do we have anything lighter? And Kevin Hart is getting comedy's biggest award. Oh, good for him. This spring, the 44-year-old Paul Blart comic will receive the Kennedy Center's Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, joining the ranks of Richard Pryor, David Letterman, Jon Stewart, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. We should do like a comedy show on YouTube.
But you're not funny.
That's it for today. If you want to find out more about something I covered, links to sources and references are down below in the description. Make sure to like and subscribe to get notice news here on YouTube, and go follow us on Snapchat and TikTok. I'll see you back here on Tuesday.